Australia, led by Mrs. Marie Hikara, head of the delegation. Please, big clap is here with us. And today we are honored that...
your Ugandan coffee.
Yeah, the Ugandan coffee.
And I'm sure this is wonderful.
That's right, that's right. And it's okay, we are...
Supports this coffee all the way in the value chain.
We need this in Australia. Yeah.
The product
delicious.
Of the kingdom.
The coffee bean and the drink that comes from coffee is such an important product worldwide. I know in Australia we drink so much coffee now, and it has increased every year since the migration came to Australia. So everywhere around the world, African coffee is admired, but Ugandan coffee, the more that I've researched it, the more that I'm learning about the quality of the bean and the quality of the roasting, the richness of the flavours. So we really look forward to tasting this. Very excited.
Coffee is a very important product in Australia.
Thank you so much.
In Canberra, but at the same time, when I came here last year, did they say Oxima? Yes. We came here for what is called Oluwalo, and I was told that I will represent the Buganda in Australia and Pacific. So I come here in two capacities. I have not been officially given an appointment letter, but it's in the process. And I'm proud to talk about that appointment. And who am I to reject it? Yet all my forefathers have been serving the Buganda Kingdom. My first posting was in China, and I think everyone knows about Henan Goji. I'm the same person who brought Henan Goji to Uganda. Of course, by then, no one knew Tisa, but at least I brought it to Uganda. And what I'm seeing a very good product. And whoever I bring here is always a good product. I think I'm just in the footsteps of my parents and grandparents. My main duty as a foreign service officer, and still a foreign service officer in Buganda Kingdom, is to promote Buganda, is to lobby and also get as many friends as possible. At the embassy, I do tourism, culture, and education. So anything to do with tourism, culture, and education, I may ensure that I bring it back here to Uganda.
20 cities around the world. So that's my law practice. I also have a number of other board positions and other appointments. I'm also involved in the Catholic Church in my community, and so that is a little bit about me. My connection to Uganda started almost 100 years ago now. My father was born in Soroti, and my grandfather was a game warden in Uganda, and I have to find out where, but he was a game warden in Uganda over 100 years ago, and my father was born here 100 years ago, 100 years last year. So that was my first connection to Uganda. And from then, until we met Father Michael, I had very little to do with Uganda. But then we met Father Michael, and Father Michael was appointed to our community where we live in Sydney. And he was a seminarian studying to be a priest. And Father Michael taught us a lot about, and would speak to us often about his wonderful care and love for Uganda. When he did his first mass in Cronulla, in our area, the Ugandan High Commissioner and Susan, a delegation came from the High Commission to our area. And the result of that delegation was we were extended an invitation to come to Uganda. But since that initial invitation, one thing we have learned is that there is so much more to Uganda, and especially this kingdom. There is so much more. And we arrived yesterday, and in a very short time, we've learned so much from the people we have met about the opportunities for us to build friendship, for us to build relationship, and for us to build a future. The future will rely on things like tourism and heritage. It will rely on things like coffee, education. There are so many opportunities.
Thank Susan from the Ugandan High Commission in Australia. Uganda has so much to offer to Australians, and hopefully we can offer and grow a relationship with Uganda. The major kingdom, the major regional area when I did my research was Buganda. That's what I noticed. I thought, it's the premier region in Uganda. It is the economic hub. It is the hub of heritage. You have such a rich culture. Your country is so united. You have the diversity of your tribes here and the regions, but you are still very proud of your heritage, your history, very rich constitutional kingdom here. So this is a model state and a model country as part of the Commonwealth. You keep your wonderful history and heritage, but you have developed all the democratic institutions that make you a very respected nation. I see wonderful opportunities in the future, and it's a privilege for Dunstan D'Souza and I to be here at the invitation of the High Commission because I have spent 28 years in public life. I did start when I was very young. I will say that. And I started in local government, which is really important. And then I had the privilege of serving in both of the Houses of Parliament, the Legislative Assembly and the Legislative Council. We are always looking in Australia to partner with the growing areas of Africa because this is where we see the opportunities. Even though we are part of Asia, we understand now that developing relationships with areas such as Buganda Kingdom, and Albert has outlined so wonderfully from representing the Bugandan Heritage and Tourism Board. And while he was talking, I can tell you I truly enjoyed the coffee. This coffee is delicious. And I say that as someone, I started drinking coffee when I was 2 years old. I'm considerably older now. I can tell you I know my coffee. This is rich, flavoursome, smooth, and so good to the palate. Coffee like this, Australians love their coffee now. We are a country, Australia, a new country, and we are established with many cultures, people from many parts of the world, all bringing their richness of heritage, their experiences, their culture, their food. So Australians, we have been spoilt. The one thing is we're very unified, even though we have so. We really look forward. The Kasubi Tombs has been on my wish list for many years because I love to travel. I've been very fortunate to travel around the world, but this is the first time for me in Uganda. I've been in Africa for 3 trips previously, but I've always wanted, number one, to see the heritage sites, the Kasubi Tombs, and also to see your wonderful natural environment on safari. And we've been very lucky to combine that with a great spiritual event. Thank you so much. It's a great, great honour. And delicious coffee, I can say.
the Kabaka established a fully-fledged law firm to offer legal services to the kingdom and also to the public, to the indigent. We have a legal aid project here. So this is one of the support team. Others are in courts and in the field. Comes from a family which is prominent in leadership, both in the central government politics and also in the kingdom. Her great-grandfather was one of the regents when Buganda had a young king. There were 3 regents. There was Mugwanya, Singiri. Mugwanya is her great-grandfather. And her own father was a liberator. You must have learned that this country went through turmoil and anarchy. Her father was one of the freedom fighters who fought and shed blood to see Uganda, regaining her freedoms. And I'm greatly gratified to see the great job that Tisa is doing, following in the footsteps of her great family. I thank you, Tisa, for wooing friends for the kingdom. You brought the Chinese, with whom we are doing a great housing project in Uganda. And now you are here bringing very connected people from Australia, and we know we are going to benefit from this relationship, which is just starting today. So, Ms. Mary Fikara Oyam and your delegation, which include my land friend. I think on the table we are the only 2 land friends. That's what we are known for. We boast over other professions. We think ours is the only land profession. So, Mr. D'Souza, my pleasure to meet you, and I look forward to, networking with you. I always enjoy this. It's a privilege to receive you at the headquarters of the Buganda Kingdom. Our presenter has taken you through. It was just a synopsis, but you're going to see more of this kingdom, which is called the gateway to the Pearl of Africa. Winston Churchill called this the Pearl of Africa when he first stepped here. And indeed, you're going to feel it, you're going to see the mountain gorillas, you're going to visit the countryside, and very, very hospitable people. Because Albert has given us a big background, I may not belabor so much to talk about Buganda. Buganda is a Bantu kingdom within Uganda, which is headed by a king, and the current king, His Majesty Ronald Mwenda Mutebi. The second is the 36th king in the line of kings since the first king, Kabaka Kintu. And this kingdom has an executive prime minister, as you've been informed. Presently, that is Charles Peter Maiga, who is now in the United States. It has a cabinet, a small cabinet of 14 members, with very, very broad ministries, which deliver wonderful services to the people. Your visit to the kingdom will in many ways benefit our different ministries. I mentioned my own local government and our various departments. Albert, his heritage and tourism department, we know is going to network effectively following this visit. We are very good at making partnerships and following up. We are a kingdom which was restored, but without full political powers. We don't collect taxes, but through frugal management and creativity, we are able to provide services. The king provides services in health, education, and other areas to his people through creativity. And it's his partnership which is greatly enabling the kingdom to be able to deliver these services. This is going to form a bridge between our kingdom and the people of Australia. As I have mentioned, the Kabaka presides over 18 counties, which are territorial. The 18 I mentioned are territorial. But his people live and are scattered all over the world, and he has established extraterritorial counties and activities. The Kabaka has counties in Europe, in Scandinavia, in the USA, South Africa, and elsewhere. And now we have a concrete plan, especially with TISA's initiative, to establish our presence in Australia, to cater for Kabaka's subjects in that part of the world, and also to be able to market Buganda and Uganda. This is our own docket, as I mentioned. My colleague Joseph Kauchi is in US, supervises this docket and has been closely working with our MC of the day. The conversations and interactions we've had, starting with this coffee moment, I know will greatly help us to explore Australia in our endeavor to establish offices there and also to install our own officers. In all those areas I've mentioned, the Kabaka has appointed officers who do work among his people and also try to extend our cultural exchanges and services. Particularly coffee, which we have started with. I thank you, Mary, for your kind words buying and which is processing coffee. It is the product which we have here, Kaawa Mpologoma, which we look forward to see in the supermarkets of Melbourne, of Sydney, New South Wales, and other parts of Australia. There is a brochure here which you'll take and carry along, and I know you'll be able to carry some products. Right now, he is marketing coffee in the United States, and we have very, very positive responses, and we look forward to developing this partnership in Australia. We spent over 10 billion shillings to restore this sacred of the place, but it's not very open. Our people from the tourism board will guide you about this. But we abagenyi baffe bano ab'ettendo bano bagenyi bankizo bantu b'amaanyi okuva Australia. Omukyalo ono abadde member wa parliament in New South Wales okumala emyaka mingi era alina experience y'amaanyi mu byobufuzi n'obukulembeze okusingira ddala mu gavumenti z'ebitundu nga bwe mukimanyi ministry eno gye tukulembera ya gavumenti z'ebitundu. N'olwekyo tusuubira nti tugenda okuba n'enkolagana naye mu mirimu emingi gy'akola mu byobukulembeze, mu byobulamu, mu bikwata ku butonde bw'ensi environment, bimukwatako nnyo kwegamba ensonga zonna zaalinamu obumanyirivu ate z'ensonga ezigwira ddala mu ssemasonga zaffe ow'okulaakulanya Buganda. Era tuta omukisa guno okwebaza muwala waffe Tiisa mubaka wa Uganda mu Australia akaseera kano yava China, naye Tiisa y'omu ku babaka ba Uganda abalimu ensa oba abalimu empeke kuba atusakidde emikwano ye yatuleetera wano bagwogi abachina abo be mumanyi betuzimbye nabo projekiti ya Kabaka Mirembe Villas ne Sentema ate era atuleetedde nabano betusuubira okujjamu enkolagana ey'omuggundu eneetuyamba mu mirimu gyaffe emingi. Abamu bagenda mu buweereza buno ba ambassadors, abazungu bakiyita wining and dining, bagenda kulya bijjulo, naye ababaka nga Tiisa agenda kutusakira era mukozi nnyo tumwebaza. Naye ate tetwebuunya kuba Tiisa ava mu famire mu Buganda wano emanyiddwa mu bukulembeze, muzzukulu wa Stanleyas Mugwanya eyali mujjukira yali omu ku bakuza ba Ssekabaka Chwa bwe yali omwana omuto, kwaliko Mugwanya, kwaliko Kisingiri. Ate kitaawe mwami Mugwanya mumumanyi yali mulwanirizi w'eddembe ne General Yoweri Museveni mu lutalo olw'okununula Uganda. N'olwekyo ng'Abaganda tusanyuka nnyo okulaba muwala waffe ng'atukiikiridde bulungi, ng'atuweesa ekitiibwa, ng'ate atusakidde n'atuleetera abantu abagenda okutugasa. Era tulina essuubi nti tujja kutambula bulungi n'enkolagana eno ne bannaffe bano abava mu Australia ensi gye tumanyi obulungi nti esomeseza bannayuganda erina yunivasite ez'amaanyi zenjogeddeko, bannayuganda bangi abasomeddeyo era bazze wano ne bakola emirimu egy'ettendo. Tumanyi nti naffe tujja ganyulwa nnyo mu mukago guno. Omukyalo ono ayogedde ku kirime ky'emmwanyi n'agamba ye yatandika okunywa kaawa nga muwala muto era asanyuse nnyo okusanga nga Obwakabaka ekirime ky'emmwanyi bukikutte n'amaanyi nga bukola kaawa era gwanyweddeko n'asanyuka. Tubadde wano nga emboozi egw'Amakerenda nga tunywa kakaawa era twebaza nnyo kampuni eno Katikkiro gye yakulembera eya Mmwanyi Terimba era bagenda kuddayo n'ebimu ku bikolebwa kampuni eno n'ebigikwatako. Batuwadde wano brochure ekwata ku Mmwanyi Terimba ne batusuubiza nti bagenda kulaba nti batusakira enkolagana n'akatale k'emmwanyi zaffe ne kaawa waffe, ate era ng'ekyo ku mulembe Omutebi Kabaka kyatukuutira okulaba nti tusaka emikwano olw'okuba Obwakabaka gavumenti etalina misolo eyita mu buyiiya okulaba nti ekola emirimu n'etuusa ku bantu obuweereza ng'ate eyitira mu mikwano n'emikago nga gino. Twebaza nnyo Ssaabasajja Kabaka olw'obukulembeze buno obulungi obuyitimusizza Uganda ne Buganda ne butuleetera abagenyi, kuba mulaba buli kiseera tuba twaniriza ano abagenyi olw'obukulembeze obwo obulungi. Era Katikkiro Charles Peter Mayiga tumwebaza nnyo mu myaka gino 10 asitudde nnyo Buganda n'agiteeka ku maapu y'ensi yonna. Ssaabasajja Kabaka awangaale.
Sorry, one more.